First off, I'd like to thank these amazing people who decided to support me directly and make my work here on the platform so much easier. And remember, if you also want to help me out, the missile knows where the join button is at all times. Hello pilots, welcome back. How have your battles been? Mine have been going well. For today's video, I'm flying the Su-33, and this kind of feels like a historic event because I honestly don't fly this bracket from 12.7 to 13.0 very often, but I'll tell you right now that literally my best matches have all been up tire, though that doesn't mean the plane's situation is fair or that the bracket from 13.0 to 14.0 is balanced. Anyone who's been watching my videos for a while already knows pretty well how compression works, so if you want to stay up to date with everything, go check out my latest videos after this one. It's really worth it. And just so you remember, you can also fly any platform that carries R-27ERs at 13.0. The same way I'm flying the Su-33 in this video. It doesn't matter if it's a MiG-29, a Su-27, or a J-11, because the Su-33, at least in terms of specs, is the worst of them. This plane here weighs 18 tons, while a regular Su-27 is about 16.3 tons, sometimes 16.7 depending on the version. Like the Su-33 is only about 30 kilos lighter than a Su-35, which weighs 19 tons. But it doesn't have the same engines or the same tech. No ram coating either. The only real advantage it's got compared to the others is instant turn because of the canards. But when it comes to keeping a sustained turn, my friend, you're screwed. It's best to just avoid getting into a dogfight at all, especially in a BR where like 80% of the planes flying are pure dual fighters. Kind of the performance says a lot about the role we should take and how everything should be done. We're basically a flying bathtub with a bunch of missiles, decent speed, and not that many countermeasures. So yeah, as painful as it is, you really gotta play together with your teammate. And in up-tire matches like this one, try to fly low while keeping an eye on high altitudes, and also watch the flanks. During the whole intro, I was doing this while flying idle, and now I'm getting close to combat, so pay close attention. The R-27 is a really smart missile, so I can keep relocking the target to avoid making the RWR scream all the time. Then the guy thinks everything's fine, and out of nowhere it blows up. I also can't forget to always go around the flanks, so I'm taking the left side of the mountain. Like I said, the Su-33 is an instant turn plane, and that's pretty much all it does, so the fun button has to be used really wisely. You can't let that chance slip by. Alright, the last guy is an F-15. I don't have a lot of chaffs, but it's still safe to risk a kill. I've still got plenty of missiles and enough to defend myself if needed, so I'm just gonna build up a bit of energy before starting the ER's reign. That's it, great result, clean gameplay. The ER is definitely one of the missiles. Let's move on to the second match. The positioning plan this time is not to play with the team. Even though that totally contradicts what I said earlier, my spot now is literally an extreme flank on the right side of the map where I know there might or might not be a bunch of enemies. Successful plays here are possible when you completely master the plane and its mechanics. You can work around some of its weaknesses with planning, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Like I said, playing with allies at this battle rating is something I wouldn't wish even on my worst enemy. And like I already said, the R-27 is an extremely smart missile, so you really just need one of them flying in the air. Here I'm using it exactly how the engineers who made it intended them to be used. Poor guy, he didn't even realize a launch happened on him. This was right at the edge. I almost hit the radar gimbal limit, but it was enough for the missile to make contact. I didn't just want to trade a kill with him. Now I'm going to push forward to where the furball happened. I've probably already cleared this side of the map. Now all that's left is to go hunt the rest of the enemies. I'll be back once I get there. I'm strategically positioned in ideal conditions for 27 ET launches, in a perfect war thunder where the missile wasn't so weak for supposedly being an IR medium range. This would 100% be 2 kills, but that's not what's gonna happen. I just know it. ET just isn't as reliable in the game as some people think. If both of them had worked here, I could have come out alive, because I could have just focused on the F2 and gotten out of that AAM3. Oh well, that's life. Now from the third match onward, it's gonna be the boring down-tier matches. And well, since there aren't many dangers at high altitudes, I can just fly a bit up. I can also use my radar to predict enemy positions, and maybe start a long-range engagement. Since it's down tier, I also don't recommend using aggressive positions, because people here like to attack in packs. And when I say packs, I mean really packs. They'll pull 4 or 5 at the same time. And if you had a bit more countermeasures, maybe you could handle that. But that's not the case with this plane. Like I said, there usually aren't many dangers, so it's easy to start a fight like this and sometimes get a kill. All of this happens before you even dive into the furball, and a good entry can get you a whole sea of frags. Apparently, I fired at 2 friendly little ghost guys, wasted 2 missiles, but at this point, it's not like it really matters. I still have a few left on the pylons. Here's where you really see how chaotic the BR is. You can't understand what's going on in someone's head. You don't expect them to just leave multipathing and go head-on against an R-27ER carrier. For me, this feels like playing in silver in LOL. To wrap it up, the Su-33 is a really capable plane, even in a balance that's far from ideal. A plane with a really high skill ceiling, even if the average player flying it makes you think otherwise, like it's a weak plane or whatever. But the truth is, mastering it opens up a ton of possibilities. Getting 100% out of the plane takes time. I'd say even with 500 or 600 hours in the Su-33, you won't be able to do everything it's capable of. And you probably won't, because the game isn't designed for you to evolve. You won't improve just by facing bad players. For me, that's the problem with this bracket. A lot of people who should be learning to use missiles at 9.0 or 10.0 or learning how to aim. Playing props for some crazy reason are here, but everyone does what they want with the game, their own money and their own time. Who am I to set the rules right? As usual, the last match doesn't have many cuts, and also doesn't have commentary for anyone who likes to just watch my gameplay. So stick with me until the end, where I'll say goodbye to you all. Alright folks, that's all for today. Hope you liked it. Do you agree or disagree with anything I said? Tell me down in the comments. Your feedback is super important to me. The video ends, but the chat stays. Karma out.